I think what's happened, I do think that the president, having come up with a plan, a three-step plan, all I've done is want to ask our governor in Nevada, because we're a very different state, to open us back up because we have so many people out of work. We're a hospitality state. That's our industry. And so all these small businesses that people have put a life earning into are closed down. All these employees, we have about 900,000 that are out of work, and they can't put food on the table, much less pay their rent or their mortgages. And we get calls all the time begging us to open up. And because we are a competitive enterprise here, I'm sure that whether or not restaurants are successful and remain so, people not coming there because they don't feel comfortable, that will happen. So I'm very, very sympathetic to the people we've lost in this state, and most specifically in Southern Nevada, we've lost 150 people. But we have over 2.3 million people here, and so many of them are out of work, especially our middle, low-income people, and they're calling, and I'm trying to help by getting us back open.
Mayor Goodman, I mean, we certainly understand the economic cost, and we report on it every single day, and how it's hitting people. And this is the big dilemma, right? But you can't be willing to sacrifice people's health in the interest of the economic health, can you? I mean, how do you even think about making that trade-off?
Absolutely not, because I look at history, and I look back to the days of polio and the West Nile virus and the Legionnaire's disease, and I feel very, very confident. We never closed down the country or the economy when we were fighting so desperately to maintain, find out what was wrong, and find a vaccine. And once we have a vaccine, we're going to be great. But until that time, there's no plan. And that's what I've been begging our governor to do. And I know he is working his hardest to do what he can. But we would like to open the city and get our employees back to work. Meantime, putting in place proper safeguards to maintain the healthiest of environments, which we've always had, because that's why you're seeing a wonderful community like Las Vegas for conventions, major league sports, entertainment, large crowds being able to be together.
Though, Mayor, what you're listing there are all of the most high-risk types of events and gatherings for what is the most virulent type of disease virus that we've seen in many years compared to the ones you listed. So I guess there's quite a big disconnect in terms of what you're asking for. You're not asking for a small reopening. You're asking to embrace the most high-risk possible types of economic activity.
Well, and for those who are so concerned, and that's everybody that really is concerned, and we have a population that really says, let me back to work to support my family, put food on the table. Everybody has the right to their own opinion and to taking care of themselves and their families. So on one side of the coin, those who do not want to mingle in a large group again at some point. But what I'm hearing from the top professionals that are out there as pundits to us all are saying, we don't know an end to this. We don't know whether it's going to come back in a month, if in fact we got a hold of it, or if it's going to be here through the end of the year. So the question is, do we remain in our homes for a whole year? And then what happens to the entire economy? And most importantly, to all these people who are now going to become part of the homeless population. So my whole call is, please give us a plan, give us a timeline, which the president so far has responded to. But I, as a nonpartisan, am calling for those also, the middle income, low income, who in this state are out of work because we are a service community and it hasn't been broken.
Mayor Goodman, when I hear about reopening Vegas, I think about, a lot of people in the same room touching the same slot machines and the same cards and the same dice. I mean, what if you do pursue this path and reopen and people don't come?
Well, that, unfortunately, I have no power over it. First of all, that state, the Gaming Control Board and the state have total control over when casinos can open. But it is about private ownership. And so each one of these hotels, these wonderful hotels, 155,000 rooms in their casinos, how they're going to go ahead and fight and combat and prepare. They've already been doing it. They've already been planning. Everything's cleaned down once again. But we wouldn't have been so successful all this time and have so many conventions and so much activity, entertainment and sports, if we hadn't already been very careful about all hygiene here.
My final question is, don't you think the doctors should decide this whole question about reopening? I mean, with all due respect, versus listening to different opinions from politicians and pundits, isn't this really just up to the healthcare professionals? Yes, and they're telling us they have no handle on it. We have no vaccine. We have no treatment. And so the reality, it could go on for a year. No, they're telling us that social distancing is working. Oh, no. I'm sure all the private businesses are looking at that and how they operate. So absolutely, you're right. Social distancing is going to be a piece of the reopening. We just want to do it and get our people back to work. Have you spoken with the president about this? In particular, in specifics, no. But he was out here for our return to the working world of our Hope for Prisoners. He was out here for the graduation of these wonderful people who made a mistake in life and now come back to work. And so I did speak to him briefly then, but not about this. Mayor Carolyn Goodman, thank you for joining us. Thank you.